अस्सलाम वालेकुम। मेरा नाम डॉक्टर सोफिया उमैर बाजवा है। आज की इस वीडियो में हम आम से हटके कुछ बात करेंगे। आने वाले दिनों में मैं वियतनाम जा रही हूँ एक मेडिकल कॉन्फ्रेंस के लिए, जो एक फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनी एजीपी ने ऑर्गेनाइज की है। इस कॉन्फ्रेंस का नाम है गायनी एक्सपर्ट फोरम, और इस कॉन्फ्रेंस में खास तौर पर हम लोग इनफर्टिलिटी की बात करेंगे, उन कपल्स के बारे में बात करेंगे जिनको प्रेगनेंसी होने में दुश्वारी पेश आती है, और उनके ट्रीटमेंट ऑप्शंस पे भी डिस्कशन इस कॉन्फ्रेंस में हो। इसमें खास तौर पर मैं बात करूंगी पीसीओएस के बारे में, और अपने बहुत सारे पेशेंट्स का एक्सपीरियंस डॉक्टर्स के साथ शेयर करूंगी कि मेरे पीसीओएस के पेशेंट्स को शादी के 8 साल 9 साल 10 साल बाद कैसे प्रेगनेंसी हुई। तो आने वाले दिनों में मैं आपको वियतनाम की सैर भी कराऊंगी, हम वियतनाम के मुख्तलिफ जगह भी देखेंगे, और कॉन्फ्रेंस के क्लिप्स भी मैं आपके साथ शेयर करूंगी, जिसमें आप लोग सुन सकते हैं कि पीसीओएस के बारे में खास तौर पर मैंने क्या डिस्कशन। उम्मीद है आपको मेरी ये वीडियोस पसंद आएंगे। थैंक यू।
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank AGP for giving me this opportunity to participate in this educational session. My presentation is in 3 parts. First of all, I will tell you what is PCOS, and in the second part of my presentation, I will tell you 3 case-based stories of my patients who were suffering from PCOS and with infertility as a result of that for many years. And lastly, we will talk about the management of PCOS. In particular, the role of myo-inositol, anti-thyroid-inositol. So the most important thing is the prevalence of PCOS. What I have seen over the last 6 years of my working in infertility in Pakistan, that we have a very big prevalence of PCOS in our population. What I think is that it is basically related to our genetics, that later on in life when we develop diabetes, I think हमारे खानदान में हम सब में कोई ना कोई फैमिली मेंबर जरूर होगा जो डायबिटिक है. So all those women, they would probably have an element of PCOS when they were younger. So the prevalence of PCOS in Pakistan is approximately about 52%. So it means out of every 2 of us, one of the women will have some element of PCOS in some part of her life. As we all know, how do we diagnose PCOS? Again, we are well aware of the Rotterdam criteria, that 2 out of 3 criteria, if a woman fulfills, then we will say that she has polycystic ovarian syndrome. And what are the 3 criteria? Number 1, irregular or absent menstruation, I would say, as a result of irregular or absent ovulation. Then clinical or biochemical signs of hyperandrogenization, which will include acne, hirsutism, or male pattern alopecia. And lastly, this criteria has changed. Now it is 20 or more follicles which are peripherally arranged appearance on transvaginal ultrasound or ovarian volume greater than 10 ml. I will move to the second half of my presentation. So today I will talk about 3 of my patients, and all of these patients have very interesting long duration infertility, and I will tell you how we ended up treating them, and as a result lessons which we learned. So the first one, Hira Sajes. So this is a real patient of mine. She was married for 8 years and she had a child 7 years back, and after that had a miscarriage. And after that she was not able to conceive for many years. And she had the typical clinical features of PCOS. She weighed around 80 kgs and was suffering from oligomenorrhea and hirsutism. Through this case, I want to highlight the importance of lifestyle change as well as role of medications to a certain extent as well. So she was medicated with myo-inositol, decayro-inositol, pregnancy multivitamins, and glucophage. And she was advised to lose weight. She lost 8 kgs over 3 months of time, and she conceived spontaneously with these medications. So she didn't need any sort of ovulation induction, and she was able to conceive with lifestyle changes and with minimal medications. So through this case, I want to highlight the importance of weight loss, and then simple basic medications including supplements and glucophage. So whenever a patient asks me the importance of weight loss in clinic, I usually tell them कि अगर आपने 2-3 काम है, आप मेडिसिन खाएं, आप वेट लूज करें, आप लेप्रोस्कोपी करा लें, आप IVF करा लें. अगर आप मेरे से पूछें कि मैं सिर्फ एक काम करूं, तो वो मेडिसिन नहीं होगा, वो इवन IVF भी नहीं होगा, वो वेट लॉस होगा. So the importance of weight loss, I see it literally every day in my clinic. That all these patients who go through all these different procedures, those patients who lose weight simultaneously, they would end up becoming pregnant spontaneously. So the importance of weight loss is something which I know we emphasize every day, but the more I think we need to emphasize it even more, considering that a lot of our population is above the, our normal BMI weight range. So weight is very important, and then the supplementation of myo-inositol and decaro-inositol. This role I have seen over the last 6 years practicing infertility in Pakistan. So this is another very interesting patient of mine, Saira Inam. She was married for 9 years and was suffering from primary infertility. She was having PCOS, she was meeting the criteria, and all other parameters were normal. We went on to do a diagnostic laparoscopy on her. She was having, interestingly, she had restricted diet spillage only from one side and the other tube was blocked, and I ended up doing ovarian drilling on her. She also lost 9 kgs of weight over the next 3 to 6 months and was able to conceive spontaneously, being on myo-inositol, decaro-inositol and glucophage only. So again, even she didn't need any sort of ovulation induction. So I've not written the whole of her story. After she had this child, she was again suffering with secondary infertility. She was not able to conceive for another 3-4 years. She came back to me, we tried everything. Her main constraint was that her husband was never willing for her to go through IVF. So she pushed me a lot also that I think we should do a laparoscopy again. So we did another laparoscopy, we did another ovarian drilling, and the diet test was pretty much same. And again she conceived after that. So the first time she had a son and the second time she had a daughter. So there are some women who have such resistant PCOS that they do need some sort of intervention like laparoscopic ovarian drilling. But again, as I said, the role of weight loss and medications along with that is also very important. Now the third and the last case, Samia Shahzeb. Samia Shahzeb, she was married for 8 years, suffering from primary infertility. She was one patient, she was not willing to go through weight loss. She was like, मैं डॉक्टर साहब कुछ भी नहीं खाती ना मेरा वजन नहीं कम होता. So that is something आप मुझे ना बताएंगे मैं नहीं कर सकती. We talked about laparoscopy. I did talk about all the possible options, but she was like, no, I want to go through IVF because that is the only thing which I have not done and I want to do that. So we went through IVF along with medications, of course. As she was suffering from PCOS, she ended up getting hyperstimulated. We got 32 eggs and ended up making 6 good quality embryos. She got 4 good embryo transfer attempts with us. She conceived after the first frozen embryo transfer cycle and ended up having a beautiful baby girl, and then after 9 years of marriage. When the girl was about 1 year old, then she came back to us. She was like, okay, now I'm ready for my second embryo transfer. Then again, she was one patient, as I said, very resistant weight, not able to lose weight. We started medicating her with multivitamins, myo-inositol, decaro and glucophage. We did another frozen embryo transfer cycle, but unfortunately it failed. And after that, she was waiting for a third embryo transfer because she did have embryos frozen with us. And interestingly, she conceived spontaneously. So here comes the important role of medications. So she was waiting for her third embryo transfer and she came with a positive pregnancy test. And this time she had a baby boy. And after the baby boy was born, when she came for removal of stitches of cesarean section, she gave the consent to discard the other embryos. So she was like, now my family is complete, I wouldn't want to go through this again. So IVF was no doubt a very strong stimulant for Samia Shahzeb, but the role of medications is crucial as well. So now the last part of my presentation, I will briefly talk about the management of PCOS. First of all, the conventional treatment options: weight loss, metformin, and lifestyle changes. So that is very, very important. As I told you, as an example, I gave you about my case. And then, as we all know, there are some unmarried girls, we usually suffering from acne, hirsutism, and we tend to usually put them on combined oral contraceptive pills to regulate the cycles and to reduce the symptoms, the clinical signs of hyperandrogenism. Now comes a modern approach towards PCOS. The role of myo-inositol and decaro-inositol. Now when I did my MRCOG in 2017, myo-inositol and decaro-inositol was not in the guidelines. And I just asked my friend who recently passed an MRCOG and it is still not in the guidelines.
Yes.
So I was not used to using this product while I was working in Australia because उन मुल्कों में वो लोग guideline के हिसाब से चलते हैं. जब मैंने पाकिस्तान में infertility के patients देखने शुरू किए तो मेरी mother-in-law who was a practicing clinician gynecologist for 40 years, she was like, Sophia, myo-inositol और decaro-inositol ने IUI को खत्म कर दिया. इसकी efficacy इतनी अच्छी है. So that is something which just got ingrained in my mind, and I started writing this product for my patients. I just started writing because उन्होंने कहा था, I was like, she's so experienced, she would know, and she had quite a big infertility practice as well. What is inositol? Inositol is a type of sugar which regulates insulin, cell signaling and fat metabolism. Specifically the role of myoinositol and dikairoinositol. Myoinositol transports the glucose across the cell wall into the cells, and dikairo converts the glucose into glycogen. That is how it reduces the serum insulin, the serum glucose level, and as a result the insulin levels. And then it improves the whole metabolic sequela of PCOS. The role of inositol and myoinositol in infertility. What I have seen is that I usually medicate all my patients of going through IVF, going through IUI, going through laparoscopy or simple medications. I usually do tend to put them on metformin as well as on myoinositol and dikairoinositol. Because studies have proven that these products have a role in improving the quality of oocytes and improving the fertilization rate and hence giving us good quality embryos in IVF. Myoinositol and dikairoinositol specifically improves spontaneous ovulation. Just as I told you in my first case and my second, these women didn't need any ovulation induction. So myoinositol and dikairo along with lifestyle changes and metformin will make usually women spontaneously ovulate and spontaneously get pregnant. Now the role of myoinositol and dikairoinositol is beyond treating infertility. I usually do prescribe them even for young, all those young girls in their 20s who end up becoming obese, and then mothers usually bring them to our clinic that they have started having hair on their face, on their body, and they are suffering from irregular cycles. So you will be surprised on how many patients you will encounter in your practice that if you medicate them with these products, they will end up having spontaneous regular cycles. And of course, if they lose weight, that will help them as well. The role specifically of these products in pregnancy is that they will reduce the incidence of gestational diabetes and hypertension and fetal macrosomia. These are all the studies which do prove that these products are very helpful in reducing the incidence of gestational diabetes if used in pregnancy and reduce the incidence of macrosomia as a result of gestational diabetes. There are studies to prove that these products, if used, are safe in pregnancy. Because they improve the metabolic situation of a woman in PCOS, they will help reduce the long-term sequela, which will include, as I said, truncal obesity, type 2 diabetes, and endometrial hyperplasia, and eventually endometrial cancer. So the role of these products, if you're giving them in young women, they will help in protecting and preventing them from developing these metabolic sequela as well. Now choosing the right combination. As I told you, the physiological body ratio of myoinositol and dikairoinositol in different organs is 40:1, and that is how usually we see these products in which they are trying to emulate the ratio in which the combination is similar. Now specifically talking about the product, the ratio of 40:1, myoinositol, dikairoinositol, folic acid and manganese. So this combination, of course, when given to the patients along with lifestyle changes, metformin and as needed ovulation induction, going through laparoscopy or IVF, they will help improve the chances of patients clinically get better, get pregnant, and of course protect them from the metabolic sequela as well. Thank you.